Hey, it's John David here. So if you're new to the channel, I am an analytics expert. All my videos are geared towards helping those learn more about the analytics field. So if you're curious about learning more about that, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget to hit the bell if you would like to get notifications. This week, my guest is Kat Van Fossen, who is quite impressive. She has an MBA from the Chicago School of Business. She's worked with huge names brands such as PepsiCo and VF. But recently, within the past few years, she has decided to part from working under these huge companies and has started her own branding agency called the Aspire Agency. This week, we're going to delve into how she uses data to help drive effective brand strategy. So if you'd like to learn more about that, stay tuned. I am here with Kat Van Fossen, who is the founder of the Aspire Agency and the expert in brand experience. So how are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
YouTube channel, vlog,
Show? Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
all that.
Thanks.
But it's beautiful out here.
Thank you.
So we're out in Summerfield, and I didn't realize there's so many lakes out here.
There are, yeah.
Yeah, we're right here, waterfront.
It's
in
nice.
In this chateau.
Yes. Yep.
So what are the pivotal experiences that have gotten you to this place in your career?
I think there are a couple. One of them happened early on in my career. I had just started working full-time for Progressive Insurance. It was my first job out of college. And I think like a year and a half into it, and I got promoted to team leader. And it was my first managerial position, super excited about it. I'm in that role for like a month, and I get tapped to be regional manager. And
wow.
so like one of the guys personally invites me to interview for this role, and he says, I think you'd be perfect for it. I turn it down because I felt like I needed to be loyal to my manager and the person who had gotten me promoted to team leader in the first place. I felt like I owed him something. Mm-hmm. It was like literally 2 or 3 weeks later, he left the company. And I think that really taught me that no one is going to look out for your career but you.
Yeah.
And you need to always be thinking and doing what is in your best interest. And obviously you don't want to hurt other people or alienate other people, but you need to be thinking about what is best for you, because managers are going to come and go and colleagues are going to come and go. Your career is your own. And so that's something that really was a pivotal moment for me, where I learned like, okay, I have to take charge. And so I, throughout my career, have always looked for new opportunities, new things to get involved with. And I've been very assertive in saying, I want to do these things, because no one...
I can see that.
And so it's a rarity that somebody is going to tap you on the shoulder to do something that you haven't thought about.
Right.
You need to really position yourself to do that.
Yeah, I see a lot of people who think that if I just put my head down and work hard, I'm going to get acknowledged. Yeah. And I mean, yeah, you need to work hard, but I think there's also another piece of you have to advocate for yourself.
Yeah, it's branding.
Yeah, brand. That's true.
Yes, exactly. So I think that was a big thing. And then the other one is most recently. So 2 years ago, I found myself without a job and was kind of in a position where I said, okay, we had moved here from Los Angeles, and we were thinking, okay, do we want to do another corporate relocation to another city that we're not really sure about, or should I stay here and just try it on my own? Because the type of work that I do, the branding type of work, there aren't a lot of large corporations in Greensboro that I would be marketable to. So my dad is an entrepreneur and had always kind of instilled that entrepreneurial streak in me, but I don't think I ever would have left a job to become an entrepreneur had I not been kind of forced or presented with the opportunity of, hey, I need to find a new job. And so I just kind of jumped into it and said, okay, I want to try this. I want to try and see if I can create something on my own. And it's been 2 years now. It took me, the first year was really tough. And I worked my ass off, and I networked, talked to as many people as I could. And it was after that first year that I really started to gain traction. And now it's been 2 years, and I make more money than I did in corporate, and I have infinitely more flexibility, and it's such a fantastic experience. And so not only from the quality of life standpoint has it been good, but also from the standpoint that I'm like, wow, I built this on my own and I was able to do this. And this year was actually the year that I created an office for myself. Before, I was like, I'm not gonna make a real office until I've actually hit it and I'm successful and I'm doing like regular projects. I felt like that was my reward. Yeah. And so I felt like I got that reward and was able to I earned a nice looking office. So
yeah, I'm just rounding out that first year of entrepreneurship, and it's weird when you do a lot of work that is not. I had to struggle today where a lot of the work that I was doing wasn't billable hours.
Yeah.
And then it's like, am I actually working? Like the work, like if you're not charging, but I mean, I think what happens is that you invest all that time over the year or however long it takes, and then you start to see that benefit, and it all kind of like trickles down and then just pops for you.
Yeah. It is a long-term game. And I remember hearing this once, that the vast majority of small businesses or entrepreneurs fail in the first year, not because of something wrong with their business model or growing too quickly, but rather because they give up and they just find the struggle too tough, that you feel really isolated. And in corporate America, where I have spent most of my career, you are getting a lot of feedback on, am I doing well? Am I not doing well? How are things going? And you get that. That's immediate feedback. It's gratification. When you're an entrepreneur, like, you can be going and doing stuff and just kind of hitting the pavement, trying to talk to other people, and you're like, is this working? I don't know. But you just kind of have to stick with it and just say, I'm going to push hard. And I think that's where, the people who do stick with it do achieve something.
Yeah. I'm struggling right now currently with negotiating on contracts. And like, how do you come in on a contract? Well, I'm unemployable. I cannot, I have never had a job. I sold insurance for 3 years.
Oh.
And then I hated that. It's 100% commission. I finally got kind of somewhat successful in that. Landed a big client, lost that, 80% of my income was gone.
Oh, wow.
So I went back to go get my MBA and concentrate in analytics. And that was, I guess I'm in year 3 of kind of this analytics track. But yeah, it's hard for me to understand what would a pricing structure look like in analytics, to where I think that you kind of understand. Or am I wrong? Yeah.
No, I do. I mean, I have a good I have confidence in what I bill now.
Yeah.
And I think before I was always unsure on what I should bill. Is this too much? Is it too little? Where I've kind of gotten to a point where I recognize, what, not only what my worth is, but what the market will bear. Can I charge this and actually get clients at this rate? So, but it is definitely, there's a lot of kind of like the type of thing, like I'm guessing this is going to be the right thing, and I put rigor behind it of like, this is how many hours I think it's going to take to do X, Y, Z. But yeah, at the end of the day, like that is tough to figure out billing.
Something that we've been playing with is estimating the value of the impact of our project, and then kind of basing it off that. Because going from a company that uses no data at all to all of a sudden we do a data discovery and they realize that, wow, these 3 main things are hindering their business, and then it just completely turns things around. How do you use data at the Aspire agency?
Data is an integral part of what I do. I think a lot of people who don't know about marketing think that marketing is kind of the soft side and design, and it really is that intersection between art and science. I work a lot on with clients where I am helping them to determine what their strategy should be and what their focus should be for the company overall. That really always needs to be rooted in data.
What are the data sources to drive strategy?
Yeah, great question. I do a lot of consumer research, so that is both qualitative and quantitative data. So running surveys, that type of thing. So that's really understanding the voice of the consumer. But then the other data source that I will use will be sales data. So understanding kind of where that company is right now, where are they getting their revenue from. There are also syndicated data sources with the type of work that I do with brands. It's you're working with secondary sources like IRI or Nielsen, where you're pulling out, you're able to get sales data both of your brand as well as competing brands. And then third piece is secondary research or data on consumer behavior, kind of, what trends are we seeing in the marketplace. Those all have to serve as the foundation for the work that we do. And oftentimes when you're working on things where people have strong opinions or a difference of opinion, it really needs to come back to the data. Yeah. And because that's something that you can objectively say, hey, you might feel one way, I might feel another way. What is the data telling us though? So it's something that I have to use day to day. Specifically, I do work such as segmentations where we're trying to identify the right consumer targets to go after. And you have to be looking at data, and you're doing, pretty rigorous analyses, like, a cluster analysis or regression to understand these groups better and how best to target them. So it's something that I've just, it's part of my everyday work.
Yeah. So you have all these different types of analyses that you're running. How do you get the facts in front of the client? Like what's that process look like?
It is less about the data and more about the so what from the data. And that's something I've learned. It actually depends on the client that you have. Some clients want to see data tables, others don't. They just want to say, what's the so what? And what is this telling me? And what should I be doing with it? And
if they think it might be wrong, then they'll ask.
Absolutely. Right. And you always have that prepared, that it's, I've done the analysis and, I have 50 pages of analysis that I can show you and, that's available. But it's reading that client and understanding what they're looking for. But I definitely, and I think for me, it's... when you are looking at data, it's about making sure that you're pulling out the relevant nuggets so that if somebody is looking at it, that's the first thing that they see. So in terms of like visualization of that, if you're showing a table that has lots of numbers in different places, I will put like a big, star around one of the numbers so that it kind of stands out from the others, or, add animation to that slide so that people know, okay, this is where my eye should follow. Because it is really difficult when you have a ton of data that they're like, what should I be looking at here? And what's the point of this? What are you trying to tell me?
It's interesting that you started the answer with marketing as kind of the art and the science. Mm-hmm. I feel very similarly about visual analytics.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there is the science of these are hard numbers, but then there's kind of a graphic design, really like a psychological, like pre-attentive attributes. So like if everything is gray, but this one thing is red, that'll pop out. And it's, instead of you actually reading the whole page within like a nanosecond, you got it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I really find that enjoying. I think I would get so bored if what I was doing was very simple and like one dimensional. I guess that's probably why I'm in this space, because I can't fit into the machine. What were you going to say?
I agree with you. I actually think that that's quite fun, where, you have to find a way to convey information in a compelling way. And I think it is a lot of people are just going to throw data on a slide and just say like, okay, well, this should speak for itself, and I'll put a headline on it. And it's like, no, you're
right. Yeah.
Yes, you can keep somebody's attention with those types of slides for like 5 minutes. And then after that,
They just get
it.
fatigued.
Of course.
So because they're having to think, you want to make it like
no, right.
You want to chew it up for them and just mama bird it to their mouth.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly. Right.
That's really fun. Do you have any big wins or really cool use cases as far as making a process more data driven?
I feel like because I do it so much, it's hard for me to say like, here's kind of that crowning moment where,
Right.
the heavens opened up and,
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
that glory shined down on me. It's more though that I've kind of found the secret to it, to kind of making it work. I think, so I work a lot with senior executives who know nothing about marketing and don't care to know anything about marketing. So it's about finding a common language with them. And especially in corporate America, common language is dollars. So anytime that you can translate anything into dollars saved, dollars earned, anything like that, you get their attention. And so that has been for me the way that I try to use data and translate it into a way that says, okay, if we do this, if we follow this strategy or we take this approach, here's what we think this means in terms of the money that we could be saving or the money that our customers could be saving, or the additional revenue that we'll be bringing in. So a current example of that is a segmentation study that I'm doing right now where we're trying to identify new groups of consumers that should be targeted for a particular brand. They have an old segmentation that they've been using for many years, and there's a reticence to move to a new segmentation. And so what we want to do is identify for them, if we move to this new segmentation, we think that your revenue will increase by X amount because this new group of consumers exhibit this type of behavior that shows that they are more willing and more likely to purchase X, Y, and Z. And so it really then translates at the end of the day of there is a very big monetary impact to you using this type of work. And obviously I can't do that without the data and showing them,
Well, it seems like to take on the perspective of these senior managers, that's a very volatile position, right?
What is?
Being like the CEO of a company.
Oh,
the
sure.
turnover of that is super high.
Yeah.
But the anecdote to getting fired is for them to continue growth.
Mm-hmm.
And then we could get into a whole other conversation about how you can't sustainably grow at 8% indefinitely. Like there's going to be ups and downs.
Yeah.
Like, or you're gonna hit. I saw that when I was selling insurance. You hit a sat. I was selling for Aflac, which is rough. But you hit the market. By the time I got there, was very saturated.
Mm-hmm.
So I would go and call in these businesses, and they'd be like, "You're the 8th person who's come in this year." But then they expect you to continue the same growth pattern.
Yeah.
So if you can somehow either save them money, make them more profitable, or bring them in more revenue, that's what they want. That's what they wish that their organization would do.
Yeah.
I think I see that a lot with just teams within these, because I interned at a big international company when I was in my MBA, and it's just like the data was so convoluted. There was no clear decision.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people kind of rest on their laurels and they hide behind that, because they're middle aged and they're comfortable and don't want to push and they just want to like clock in and clock out. That was good because I only had 6 months of that experience. I was miserable and super depressed and
showed you what you don't want to do.
Yeah, I think that defining like a very clear defined hell on earth is valuable. And
Absolutely.
Because I could have gotten stuck. Well, I got stuck in the insurance thing for 3 years, and that was rough. Although I learned a lot from that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I think that a lot of people go through this kind of quarter life crisis though right after school.
Yeah. I agree with you.
I don't know. It sounds like you were killing it. You got out and you immediately just started racing off.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. I think earlier on when I was a teenager, I got heavily into drugs and was just like a bad kid. And I feel like I went through my my rebellious and bad kid stage, and then
Was
when
that in
I
high
was
school?
yeah,
Wow, yeah,
middle
got it
school,
out.
high school.
Got it out early.
I did. So when I hit college, I was kind of like ready for, okay, I actually want to be
You're
serious about this.
You're lucky. I felt like my college experience was like adult daycare for me.
I
And that's
get
what it's
it.
become.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Right,
what it's
right.
become. But well, my parents paid for it, and I felt like I was going for them. But then I worked for a few years, and yeah, it was really rough.
Yeah.
So when I went back and got my MBA, I was a whole lot more focused and ready to go. I also had done research and was like, if I take this program in 2 years, I'll be in an analytics role. I had a plan. I think a lot of people go to school and just, well, I guess it'll.
Yeah. Well, especially when you're 18, you don't know.
Oh, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
to be expected to declare a major and then stick with it when you're an 18-year-old. I mean, I knew nothing when I was 18, and it was very much through the prodding of my dad, who's a businessman, who's like, whether it's a major or a minor, you have to have business because like you need something to fall back on. Because I wanted to be an artist. And I went to school for
that's
that.
interesting.
And he was like, you can pursue that, but you have to have at least a minor in business.
So I was pursuing music.
Oh, interesting.
Like when I was selling insurance, I was like gearing up to do the singer-songwriter thing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there's a lot of overlap in the combination of the data and the creativity is that's super powerful, because I think a lot of people, there's not too many people that are in the middle of that spectrum. It's like people are either so creative that you can't put any type of discipline, and they just want to go off and be the mad poet or whatever.
Yeah.
I might be projecting here about Claire, but or you could be the people that are very diligent, that are like, everything has to be, they're almost militant, and everything's got to be here. I really like that crossroads of taking something that is kind of a craft, an art, and a science. And
that's actually surprisingly what I have found is in the type of work that I do. I come across a lot of people that you have to be analytical with the type of work that I do. So that's kind of a given, but it's interesting how many of them have a very artistic or creative side. So a lot of the people that I work with have outside of endeavors of being singers, of, like I am. That's my, outside passion that I have.
Oh, you sing?
Yeah. Or painting, or doing stuff, stand-up comedians. I actually have met a number of those, which is funny. But,
in Greensboro?
No,
okay.
Not in Greensboro. But so I think that there is something to that is actually a really powerful combination when you're able to have the discipline, but also think outside the box, but in a way that you can harness that.
Right. Well, because I've also heard that a lot of creativity is sparked by scarcity, by putting binders on things. Because you're not being creative if you're just going off and doing crazy stuff all the time. But then when you introduce the element of scarcity, it's like, okay, well, I have to make these three things into this.
Yeah.
And then that's when you get kind of, I think I'm addicted to that, honestly. Like the getting that challenge, being overwhelmed by it, kind of calming myself down, and then executing and hopefully getting over it. I mean, it doesn't always work out, but I think more so it does than it doesn't.
Yeah, and if it hasn't worked out, then you learn from those experiences as well. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing to be addicted to.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I appreciate your time.